Hi, everybody, and welcome to this short webinar on efficient top-down resource management using the built-in resource engagements capabilities in Microsoft Project Online. I am Johan Enfelt. I'm a senior consultant at Visual Planning or Visual Planning in English, and I've been working with implementing PPM solutions very often together with resource management solutions during the past 12 years. So the agenda for this short session is first an introduction. We're going to look a little bit on the concepts of bottom-up or top-down resource management. And the major part of this will be a demo on using resource engagements in Microsoft Project Online. But the first question to ask yourself if you're thinking about getting into resource management using a tool is, are you up to it? Because any tool you choose, it will only support the process that you're following. The organization has to act and follow the process and work accordingly. And to do that, and in this very short session, we're not going to get into detail on that, but as usual, you need to have the commitment from the people. You need to have your process secured and aligned with the business, and you need the tools to manage it. But if you have that, then you have a good chance that to manage your resources, and today we will show you how to do this using Microsoft Project Online. A process for resource management is very important because without the process you will end up in ad hoc prioritizations, and that will most likely not give you the results you want. So you need to follow this circle. You need to plan, track, estimate the work. Where there are needs, there need to be a process to request resources. Somebody will have to analyze the current assignments and the new requests. You need to be able to get the right people into a room and make prioritizations, make decisions, sometimes tough, and also communicate those decisions so that everybody can update the plans. And once that is done, the products will execute until you run into the next round of this circle. And this is typically, in most organizations, in my experience, a monthly process. But it's important to keep it a process, because if you get this ad hoc in the middle of the month, you just change everything, then the confidence in the process will decline, and you will see that people won't be interested in actually updating the data, because it's easier to just ask and get an ad hoc decision. Now, the two major concepts of resource management using a tool is bottom-up or top-down. And those two concepts are very different. They both have their pros and cons, and they're both suitable for different scenarios. Now, let's start with the bottom-up. Well, one way of looking at that, it's the good old planning of tasks and assignments in Microsoft Project. And the utilization will then be the top level aggregate across all plans. So basically, all the project managers assign resources at the task level. They estimate the work effort, they plan the tasks in time, and then the sum of that becomes the utilization in the portfolio. The pros of this, the advantages, is that, you can drill down to the details. You will know exactly why there is 100 hours on this resource during this month. You can drill down to the detailed task, what's happening on Thursday. The disadvantages is then, of course, the details, because this becomes very vulnerable. The nice-looking report will be nothing more than a nice-looking report unless you are sure that everybody has updated the plan. So typically this scenario is useful in a large project with full-time resources. And I think you can agree with me that that's not a likely scenario in most project organizations today. So the top-down scenario then, this is based on the fact that the amount of resources assigned to a project is defined in some sort of contract. Very often this is a document that is signed when the project starts, where it's defined how many resources during which time. And the project manager is then responsible to plan the project within the limits of the assigned resources. So this will basically be a different way of working. You assign the resources at the product level centrally. You tell the product managers that for this product you will have Johan Enfelt, and you will have him 70% in February, 50% in March, and 50% in April, for example. And then the product managers will then, if they need to, be able to plan their products in the same detail as before, and then compare the utilization they have planned at the task level with what they have assigned in the contract. And the contracts at the top level will also be the basis for this utilization heat map and for the graphs. So this has, of course, the major advantages here is it's the high level. It's a lot less data to manage, which it's easier to succeed with. The disadvantage is, well, you can't drill down, and if you're running a project with only full-time resources, then this will just be extra work for you. But for most organizations where resources are working in multiple projects, this is the most efficient way of working, I would say. So now let's see what it looks like in a short demo. So I'm going to get into a Project Online demo environment, a number of projects. As we are going to do resource management, we will click into resources. And in this scenario, I am typically a line manager or a portfolio product management office person who is going to either look at the utilization or add new engagements or make new requests. In this scenario, the requests are made at the central level. They could also be sent in by projects. So I have selected a couple of resources here, Andreas, Erik, myself, and Karin. And if I bring up the tools here, I can go into resource requests. And this is where we add the engagements at the project level. So from this view, I can see Andreas. He's assigned to a project called PM3, and we can see the amount of committed work by month here. And in this case, we see the engagement details. Look at the options tab here. We see them in hours, and we see them by month. We could switch over to number of days instead, but typically this hours will do for this demo. We see that Erik has several requests. For two of them is for the same project. The first one, acquisition target analysis, was for 80 hours in February and 88 in March, and then there was another request for more time in January. It says here in Swedish, so 92 hours in January. Now, adding an engagement here is simple. So let's get in some more work for Karin here. So in the drop down, I will get the selected resources. So typically a line manager would have this view prepared with his or her resources. So I select Karin, and then we take the audit tracking solution project, and she's going to do some tests and QA work. We need that from January and let's say throughout March. And we could either do this in hours, that would be work, or in units. So in this case, we will just say let's make that 30% of the time. So let's accept that, and the page will now update, and we will see the newly added project with her engagements, and the number of hours will differ slightly because 30% of full time is different in January and February and March. We could easily update this if we want to just say no, it should be 50. So let's just do like that, and then it says 50 hours instead. So the state column here says committed, because in this simple demo we have configured it that way. All the engagements become committed immediately and we edit them. You could also have a way that, depending on your role in the organization, you would only be allowed to do proposed resource requests, and somebody else would have to then commit them using the accept button here. So now this was the way you add the resource requests and typically also confirm them. Based on this, as a line manager, you could either go in here or you can go into something called capacity planning. And when you do that, you will get a heat map where you see the resources, the products they're in. In this way, in this demo, it's configured in a way where if you're fully booked plus minus 10%, then you become green. If you're underutilized by more than 10%, you're blue, and if you're overutilized by more than 10%, you're red. So this is a handy way of quickly looking into what this looks like. And of course, we can just collapse those nodes and look at just the top level, which maybe if you have many resources, this is the way to do. And then you just open up U1 here to see what's going on here. Why is this? In this case, you see that we are looking actually not at hours, we're looking at full-time equivalents. So 1.11 here would be 111% of full-time. We can easily change to hours instead and see how many hours is that, and where do those hours come from. So basically, this is something you can do without even having a detailed Microsoft product plan for the project. You can just enter this, and in many organizations, just doing the exercise of putting in the numbers for the upcoming 6 months for the current portfolio gives a lot of value for the organization to see what does it actually look like, where are the bottlenecks, who will we need to replace, that type of questions. Okay, now if we look at this from a product manager's point of view, then let's say that the product manager for this demo enterprise project here is working in Microsoft Product with a detailed plan. What does the product manager see of this information? Well, let me just bring on the product manager hat here, and where the product manager is currently working on updating the plan. It's a simple product plan here. You can see it like this. Now, you see we have a task here in the end where Johan Infalt is assigned to. If the product manager, when you're using the resource engagements functionality, the product manager has access to a view called resource plan. And in that view, the product manager can actually compare the work, which is the current plan in the project. How many hours have I, as a product manager, assigned to Johan across on all the tasks in the project? And then I have the committed work, which is basically what did the line manager or the resource managers decide for Johan for this project? Well, actually, they decided that I should use Johan 100 hours in December, 100 in January, 100 in February, and 100 in March. And you see, I don't have any work here for November, so this is something I should have changed. But let's see what I can do here. So I need to go back and see, why do I have 32 and 168 here? So as a product manager, I just do what I normally do. I go to resource usage. I find Johan Infalt here, and I see, okay, so what's he up to in December and January? Okay, it's this task here. So let's just, okay, well, I want him this is about 200 hours. So let's say I put him 100 in January and 100 in December. Now I've updated the assignment for the task. This will, of course, also potentially change the Gantt chart for the task here. And if I go back to the resource plan, I can just make a quick check that, yeah, Now I see him aligned. I have you on 100 hours in December, and this is actually in line with what I have as committed work in the contract. And I also see that, well, actually, I have 200 more hours for you on in February and March. So if needed, we can plan some more work on him. Otherwise, I should go back to the line manager and say, well, we should change this. I won't need him for this. So, product online, web browser, and you will see here that what we did not go into the products here. We only worked from the resources, from the resource center, where we selected resources. We opened up resource requests to see how we should manage time-phased resource assignments at the product level. And the resource requests, of course, looked like this. And from the resource requests, we could also get to the heat map. You could actually go straight to the heat map from the resource center if you like. So for most organizations, this is a simple way of getting started with cross-product resource management, and it actually fits the most common processes for resource. So feel free to contact me with feedback and comments. I hope you enjoyed this session and that you will check back in for more from us at Visual Planering or Visual Planning. Thank you.